Hey, what's up everybody? It's Chanel here, and today we're going to be talking about the history of reproductive rights and abortion in Canada. So, to start off, we're going to go way back to the 1800s, where abortion before the fourth term wasn't actually illegal. Fast forward to 1810, and New Brunswick is the first province to make abortion under any circumstances illegal. And in 1892, Canada enacts the first criminal code banning abortion, the sale, advertisement, and distribution of any type of contraceptives. Despite that, there were always activists who tried to distribute information on birth control. There was the social worker Dorothea Palmer, and in 1936 she was arrested for giving out information on birth control. So she wasn't even arrested for, providing abortions or anything like that. She was basically arrested for saying, yo, you got 12 kids and you don't really want another one? Well, if you do this, you won't get another kid, or it'll significantly reduce the chances of you having another child, which you can't afford because it's the Depression and no one has any money and everyone is having a really bad time. Yeah. Between 1926 and 1947, there were approximately as many as 6,000 Canadian women who died from botched illegal abortions. So that's almost as many as one a day. Like, holy shit. 1960 marks the year when birth control was actually made available for women. But of course not all women. It was really just available for married women with children. If you went into a doctor's office and you're single, young, no children, and were like, hey, I need some birth control, they would be like, no. And probably proceed to slut shame or some other thing, maybe patronize you a bit. All that good stuff. In 1967, a federal committee is put together to hear the arguments of all sides of the abortion reproductive rights debate because they're considering amendments to the 1892 criminal code. And Dr. Henry Morgentaler, he goes there and he's like, yo, we need to repeal this code and change it because this is bullshit. 1968, the McGill student government decided to, take a stand for reproductive rights. And what they did was they published and put together a birth control handbook, which they, printed out millions of copies and they distributed them across the country. And this was really great because at the time, access to information, reliable information about birth control and contraceptives was really limited. Finally, in 1969, abortion was decriminalized. But access was still limited, of course. In order to get an abortion, a woman had to go before a panel of judges, basically. A panel of basically all male doctors called the Therapeutic Abortion Committee, who would then determine if a woman was eligible for an abortion. And so basically the things that made you eligible for an abortion were, will there be complications which could potentially result in your death? And another thing that qualified you was, are you so suicidal that if you don't get an abortion, you will kill yourself? So obviously, that's really restrictive. Dr. Morgentaler, he defies section 251 of the criminal code, and 251 was the section that was amended. And so he goes ahead and he opens up his own illegal abortion clinic in Quebec. And 1970 was the year when people were like, yo, we need this law to be changed. So Vancouver, yes, Vancouver, the Vancouver Women's Caucus, who were a group of feminists and political activists, they were like, let's march on Ottawa. So they created the first national feminist campaign or protest called the Abortion Caravan. Yes, you heard that right, the Abortion Caravan. They traveled 3,000 miles from Vancouver to Ottawa, 500 strong. They held 2 days of demonstrations and 30 women chained themselves to the rails outside of Parliament, officially shutting down Parliament for the first time in Canadian history. So yeah, go Vancouver feminists. In 1988, the Supreme Court in R versus Morgentaler struck down the 1969 abortion law, officially making abortion accessible and to be treated like basically any other medical procedure. It all was not well and good because in 1989, in Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, ex-boyfriends of pregnant people tried to go to the courts to prevent their girlfriends from obtaining abortions, and a few of them actually succeeded. Between 1994 and 2000, 5 abortion providers were shot and stabbed. But some of them, were shot by snipers, so I don't know if people are hiring them or whatever, but that's messed up. And of course, there were a few clinics that were firebombed or subject to acid attacks. In 2008, the Conservative Party supports the Private Members Bill C-484 called the Unborn Victims of Crime Act. And it actually gets past the second reading in Parliament. And the only thing that really stops it is a national pro-choice campaign, which makes the Conservatives go like, whoa, maybe we shouldn't actually get involved in this shit. And so they withdraw their support and the bill fails. But that was the first anti-choice bill that's ever been made it to and past the second reading in Parliament. So that's some scary stuff. I'm gonna do a more in-depth video on the current state of abortion and reproductive rights in Canada. I hope you enjoyed this video, and to all you feminists and pro-choice activists out there, and people who just care about their loved ones who, can get pregnant and stuff like that, you gotta stay vigilant. There's anti-choice groups which are gaining a lot of traction and media attention. They're fighting and they're trying to chip away at the rights that we've gained. So I encourage everyone to keep up with current events, be active in supporting pro-choice laws, because we need them, and we don't want to go back to the days when 1 woman a day was dying from a botched illegal abortion. I will see you all later, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!